B equals 6/7, so you will substitute or plug in 6/7 for B, minus 4/7, just bring it right down. Denominators stay the same because they are the same, and then 6 minus 4 is 2. 2/7 is your answer. A equals 17/15, so substitute or plug in 17/15 for A. Bring down your 7/15. Both denominators are the same, so your denominator will stay the same. 17 minus 7 is 10, and this can be reduced. Divide both by a common factor of 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Answer is 2/3. For number 5, A equals 1/2, so plug in that value where you see A. Now your expression is 1/2 plus 3/8. And we do not have common denominators here, so we need to make 2 over here a common with 8. So how would we do that? How do we turn 2 into 8? Well, we're going to have to multiply it times 4, right? Because 4 times 2 is 8. But we can't just do that. What we do to the denominator, we need to do to the numerator. The reason we can do that again is because 4 divided by 4 is 1, so we're not changing 1/2, because 1/2 times 1 is still 1/2, right? So I'm going to create this denominator of 8 here, and I can do that because if I put a 4 on top here, 4 divided by 4 is 1, and we're not changing 1/2. Hopefully you understand that. And so 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is now 8, plus 3/8. Now we have common denominators. Our denominator stays the same, and then 4 plus 3 is 7. For number 7, A equals 1 3/7. So let's go ahead and plug in 1 3/7 for A. We can change 1 3/7 to an improper fraction. So we'll take our whole number of 1 times our denominator, which is 7, plus 3 is 10. 10 goes in our numerator spot, and the denominator stays the same. So we'll just go ahead and multiply across since we can't cross cancel. 3 times 10 is 30. 4 times 7 is 28. Looks like both of these numbers are even numbers, so we know that they both can be divided by 2. And 30 divided by 2 is 15. 28 divided by 2 is 14. So our answer is 15/14. For number 9, R equals 9. So go ahead and find your R and plug in your value of R, which is 9. So 2/3 times 9 minus 1 7/8. Okay, so now I'm just going to work from left to right. I'm going to take care of this, and then I'll work over here. So 9 can be looked at as 9/1 if you want to do that, or you can multiply 2 times 9 divided, which is 18 divided by 3. Couple ways you can do that. Why don't we just pick one way? I'm going to just go ahead and multiply. I'll just show you what this is. So any whole number is always over 1. So I'm going to multiply across. 2 times 9 is 18, and 3 times 1 is 3. I'm going to go ahead and write out, change this to an improper fraction. To an improper fraction. 1 times 8 is 8, plus 7 is 15. Denominator stays the same. And so now what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to see that, well, a couple ways I can do this, but I see that 18 divided by 3 is 6, so I'm just going to choose that method. Okay? Or that way. There's another way you can do that, but that's the way I'm going to do it. And then what I need is a common denominator of what? Oops, I'm sorry. I need a common denominator of an 8. So I'm just going to put my 8 in there. Look at that. I got a common denominator. How easy was that? But I just can't stop there. I actually have to make sure to multiply my numerator by 8 as well. Because remember, if I just throw in this 8 here, I can't do that. I need to put one on top as well, because 8 divided by 8 is 1, and 1 times 6 is 6. So I'm not changing my 6. I'm just helping myself out here. So 48. 8 times 6 is 48. Divided by 8 minus 15. Divided by 8. Oops, I keep forgetting to move my paper. Okay, so now we're going to multiply, our denominator will stay the same, because since they're the same, it stays the same. Now I just have to multiply my numerator, or sorry, I have to subtract my numerator. So 48 minus 15, come over here on your little piece of scratch paper, if you don't know that right away, and then just subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3, 4 minus 1 is 3, and my answer is 33/8. For number 11, a equals 0.008. So I'm just going to substitute in my value of a. Oh, whoops, I should have left a little more room, but that's 0 in front there. So that's my value of a. So I'm going to set it up so that I can multiply it out. Make sure those decimals are in there. And what I want you guys to do here and know that you can do is just go ahead and multiply the 8 times 6.3 first of all. So 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 6 is 48 plus 2 is 5 or 50. So you get 504. And you don't really have to, you could go through the process of multiplying these zeros in, but what you can also do is stop right there and just count your decimals back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that 0 there and then place your decimals. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And your answer is 0.0504. 17, x equals 7 and y equals 3. So let's go ahead and plug in our values. X is 7. And then in our denominator we have 2, and our value of y is 3. So go ahead and multiply. 3 times 7 is 21 minus 3 in our numerator, and then 2 times 3 is 6. And then 21 minus 3 is 18 in our numerator, denominator is 6. 18 divided by 6 is 3. For 19, a equals 9/17, b equals 12/17. So plug in your values. Our denominators are the same, so the denominator will stay the same at 17, and 9 plus 12, oops, is 21. 21/17. For 21, our value is 31.4, so plug in 31.4 where b is. And here we have an exponent, which tells us how many times we're going to multiply 31.4. So 31.4 times itself. You multiply it 2 times. And so just go ahead and do all the multiplication. I'll go ahead and pause the video so you can give it a, or you pause the video so you can try it. I'll go ahead and help you out to make sure you have the right answer. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry your 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 4 is, oops, 1 times 4 is 4. Yeah, 1 times 1 is 1. And 3, I forgot, I need another step here. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry your 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. And 3 times 3 is 9. Go ahead and add up these numbers. 5 plus 4 is 9, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 8, and 9. And then we're just going to count our decimal spots. 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's our nice long answer. 985.96. For number 23, our value for A is 7.9 and value for B is 0.82. So we're just going to go ahead and put our values, substitute our values, plug them in, however you want to say it. So A is 7.9, B is 0.82, and we're just going to multiply these two. When they're stuck together like that, or adjacent, or up against each other, that means multiplication. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply those carefully. 2 times 9 is 18, carry 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. 8 times 9 is 72, carry your 7. 8 times 7 is 56, and plus 7 is 63. And we'll go ahead and add 8 plus 0 is 8, 5 plus 2 is 7, 3 plus 1 is 4, and bring down your 6. Be mindful of the decimal points, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. 6. A equals 2/3 and B equals 1/4. So go ahead and plug in those values. A equals 2/3 right here, and B equals 1/4. So plug that in. Next, based on order of operations, we really do need to pay attention and prioritize our exponent. So we need to look at that. So we need to multiply 2/3 twice. So this exponent tells us how many times to multiply 2/3. So I went ahead and wrote that down here for you to see. So 2/3 multiplied twice. Let's just turn the light up here. So 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 3 is 9. So we're going to go ahead and our answer, at least when we square 2/3, is 4/9. So I'm going to rewrite that. We have 3 times 4/9 because we just squared 2/3. And same for right here, we have 1/4 squared. So this exponent tells us how many times we multiply 1/4, and we multiply 1/4 2 times. So I wrote it down here, 1/4 times 1/4. I'm multiplying 1/4 2 times. So 1 times 1 in the numerator is 1, and then 4 times 4 is 16. So we're going to go ahead and fill that in. 1/16 right there. 1/16. Okay, so now we have a few things we can do here. We can multiply our numerators together here, because if you remember, 3 is like saying 3/1, and 5 is like saying 5/1. And we can just go ahead and multiply our numerators straight across and our denominators straight across, multiply these numerators straight across and these denominators straight across. However, I do see right here that I can cross cancel. So I'm going to do that to make my life a lot easier. So 3 goes into 3, or sorry, 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into itself 1 time. If you can decrease these numbers, it just makes the problem a little easier. So multiply the numerators together. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 3 is 3. Minus 5 times 1 is 5, and 1 times 16 is 16. So now we have our new little problem here. We notice that it's a subtraction problem. We don't have common denominators, so we need to create common denominators. 3 and 16, 3 does not go into 16. So one way you can find a common denominator is simply by multiplying the denominators together. 3 times 16 is 48. And there's other ways you can do it. In fact, while I have the time here, and if you have the time to watch, the way to find a common denominator is you can find all the prime factors, or you can just list all the multiples of 3 and 16 till you find the lowest common denominator. Or another way is, like I said, just multiply those denominators. So using prime factorization, I'm going to find a common denominator for both of these numbers. So 3 is already, so if you remember, let me use factor trees. So if you remember, like a factor tree, 3 is already prime, so boom, we found that number. 16, let's see, factors of 16, 4 and 4, right? So then 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, these are all prime numbers. 2 to the 4th power. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply 3 times 2 to the 4th power. So 3 times 2 to the 4th power, and 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2, well, I'm going to show you. Okay, 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So 3 times 16 equals 48. So 48 is going to be our common denominator here. So let's see here. So 16 times 3 is 48. What we do to the numerator, we have to do the denominator, create a 1 situation there. And over here, 3 times what is 48? 3 and the 48, 16. Oops, writing is a little funny. So 3 times 16 is 48. This problem is getting a little hairy, but anyway, okay, let's finish it off, see if we get it right. So we have 16 times 4, and I already solved that. 16 times 4 is 64 over our common denominator of 48. And then 5 times 3 is 15 over 48. And then 64 minus 15 is 49 divided by 48. And I believe that is correct. 49 48ths. Wow, that took 5 minutes. Sorry about that. Okay, last one, number 35. Add some more light here. See it better. Okay, so A plus B divided by C, and we have all of our values, A and B and C. So let's plug in our values. A is 5.7 and B is 3.04 divided by C, which is 0.2. Now you will add 5.7 plus 3.04, and you can line up your decimals. Plus 3.04, and you get 8.74 in your numerator spot, and still have 0.2 in your denominator. Now you're going to divide 8.74 divided by 0.2. And you cannot have a decimal in your divisor spot, so you're going to move that decimal point over 1 to make 2 a whole number, and then you'll move this decimal point over 1 space. So I'm going to write it over so it looks nice and neat, although I'm not writing very neat because I'm holding my phone right now and it's hard to hold it while I'm writing. Anyway, so now let's divide. 2 into 8 goes evenly 4 times. That's an 8. Bring down my 7. 2 goes into 7 3 times, and it's 6. 1. Bring down your 4. Oops, sorry. Forgot to keep scrolling down. And 2 goes into 14 7 times evenly. And of course I forgot to put my little decimal point on the top of, I keep saying decimal. Anyway, decimal point on top of the house right away. 43.7, I believe, is the correct answer. I don't have my answer key, so I'm going to have to go on faith that that is the correct answer for number 35. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for your patience, guys, too, on getting these videos. Keep praying for my mom. And so I'm kind of juggling a couple things over here in California, but thank you for your patience. All right, talk to you later and see you guys. I'm excited to see you guys again.